All right, good morning. Good morning. This topic's going to be disturbing to some people, triggering to some people. It's just going to flat out piss some people off, but I'm not making it up. If it really bothers you that much, if you're offended by it, then Google for yourself and read the shit yourself, man. The studies are out there. I'm not going to dredge every one of them all back up. I have read them. There's plenty of it out there. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. I'm going to tell you right now why beer gives you a beer belly. Doesn't matter. I've told you this before, okay? But I guess people probably missed the point or they just don't care. It doesn't matter if you drink light beer or you just drink regular beer. It doesn't make any difference for men. It doesn't really make any difference for men. It's not the calories in the beer. It's not the calories in the beer. It's the estrogen, the hops. You know, if you find that you're developing a beer gut, light beer is not any relief. Light beer doesn't solve anything. It's the hops. It's the estrogen. Now, I know right now it's very trendy with all this, I don't know how much I can say on YouTube, right? There's certain words that are red flag shit, and that's why I have Patreon. You know, I can really, unedited and raw, I can actually talk about things that I want to talk about. It's the hops in the beer. You know, are you growing breasts? You're going to have a little set of B cups there? Maybe. Maybe if you keep drinking it. Some people will. Depends how sensitive you are. It's just like using gear. Cirrhosis of the liver and problems from the liver from drinking alcohol. Well, beer is probably the worst because, or in as much as beer brings to the table a whole nother set of problems and stress on your liver than merely the alcohol it contains. Because your liver is responsible for clearing estrogens from your body. The estrogen that's in the hops causes other issues for women. Causes other issues for women. I'm sure you can imagine breast cancer potentially can elevate the risk and a whole bunch of other stuff. While at the same time, it will relieve a whole slew of menopausal symptoms in women. There's a study out there where women drank, I don't know, they were given so much of this hops daily for not a lot either. I think it was equivalent of like drinking one beer a day. A month in, it reduced hot flashes by, I think the average that they tested menopausal women, that they were like having 29 hot flashes a month here in the USA. Month in, drinking the equivalent of one beer a day, it cut that down to, I think it was like 17 hot flashes. 2 months in, I think it cut it all the way down to like 9 a month from 27. You know, but it brings the bad part with it too. It's just like why women don't directly replace estrogen to deal with menopause anymore. Because it increased, you know, it elevated the occurrence of breast cancer. It's estrogen. But in men, yeah, the beer belly syndrome thing, it's thanks to estrogen. Gynecomastia, the man titties, comes down to estrogen. It comes down to estrogen no matter where you're getting the estrogen from. You're super sensitive to estrogen, then you need to be a little extra careful about what you're putting in your body. Beer is feminizing in men. Simple as that. It's just, that's a factual statement. Now, of course, there's some of you out there that are in good shape and you drink plenty of beer and you're like, well, because you're just not very responsive to estrogens. I'm not responsive to estrogens. I don't use any anti-estrogens at all. That's why sometimes you'll see, like right now, at 500 mgs a week, you know, test, you'll see that my face is a little bit puffier and I don't care. You know what I mean? That's the only side effect that I get from estrogen. I don't hold a lot of water. You know, I'm usually fairly hard. But yeah, I get that, you know, so is it worth me taking an anti-estrogen over? Of course not, no, because that cuts into my gains. You need estrogen to build muscle. You need estrogen to build muscle. You need estrogen for an erection. You need estrogen for a healthy libido in men. But If you're very sensitive to it, then you put estrogen in your body, you're going to become feminized, I guess. I suppose so. It can happen. Stranger things do happen. All you gotta do is look around you. Yeah, so it's very funny when you consider, and this is a stereotype, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna get slammed for this. I don't mean to offend anybody, okay? I don't mean to offend anybody. But you probably got a whole bunch of quote unquote stereotypical rednecks. You could be a redneck and not the stereotype, okay? I'm sorry, but I'm gonna embody the stereotype now, so please forgive me. It's meant as an educational thing, but also a small effort on my behalf of humor. And I'm not really a very funny person to most people, but I think I'm very funny. I crack myself up continually throughout the day. I make myself laugh, which is a very charming element to have in my life, as you could imagine. Other people just simply endure it because they don't think I'm that funny. And I think I'm hilarious, so what's the solution there? Anyway, I can just envision a whole bunch of stereotypical redneck dudes sitting around holding their bellies with their B-cup man boobs, overweight, and drinking their beer of choice, which is probably going to be Budweiser, because now that's very fitting, right? Because they've just pulled the whole curtain wide open and stepped right out, come right out and said, yeah, Budweiser. You know that they just, this big support thing with these special issue cans. I can't say a whole lot on YouTube of this Bud Light shit, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, there you go, buddy. Keep drinking your Budweiser. Support that shit. You're turning into one of them as you're down in those buds. But I can see a whole bunch of these stereotypical redneck types standing around, holding their Budweiser, or as I like to refer to it, butt wiper, because I think it tastes like shit. It tastes like nothing but raw hops and yeast. So that's probably got a good dose in there. And hold it up saying, I can't stand them. Self-hatred's not a good thing. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to touch on that, man. I just have to put it out there. It's the truth. It's the truth. Beer is emasculating. Hops. It's the hops specifically. You can't have beer without hops. Emasculation. Feminization.